Welcome back to the Red Alert Film Academy. As you might know, recently I made a short film. It's called Deliverance and it's on my channel right now. If you haven't seen it, check it out right over there. Well, if you've seen it, you'll probably notice that the entire film takes place at night. And we did actually shoot in the dark. It was dark outside. We didn't use day for night. And it was scary. Very scary. Now, I went into that experience knowing a little bit about shooting in low light, but I came out knowing so much more. As they say, practice makes perfect. And while I'm certainly not perfect at shooting in low light, I do feel that I've gathered enough knowledge to give you guys tips for shooting in the dark. Tip number 1. Plan out your scene. The majority of my film takes place in one room, so I did my best to plan out that room and hide all of our lights in the same places and place them all correctly, so all we had to do was just knock off the shots instead of worrying about moving all the lights around for each shot too often. I set up a key light, which was just a 168 bulb LED video light outside the window of the shed. Then for some fill, I placed a bedside night lamp next to the desk on the floor. And then finally, to illuminate any other objects that were just a tad too dark, I hid these emergency lights nearby. So as you can see, it was a very no budget way to do it, but it got the job done. So what I'm trying to say is with this tip is plan your approach before you press record. Tip number 2, and this is for all of you guys using a DSLR, shoot on the widest lens you have. This should be a given, but you want to set your camera's aperture to the lowest possible number to let in the most light. That's why you should shoot on whichever lens of yours has the lowest f-stop number. If you do that, you won't have to worry as much about messing with the other settings like shutter speed, which could mess up and interfere with the motion blur samples in your footage. You also won't have to worry so much about the other light setting on your camera, ISO. Which leads me to tip number 3, ISO. Now ISO is probably the most dangerous setting on your camera. The more you increase it, the more light you get. Yay! More light! Wait. As you increase it, you will get more light, yes, but you'll also increase the amount of grain and noise in your footage. And I'm not talking about cinematic film grain, no. I'm talking about this. Green, yucky, vomit grain. Okay, that was a traumatization, but it can go that bad really easily. So my advice is stay far away from ISO. Now obviously there are certain situations where you'll have to use ISO because you just won't be able to get enough light, but I will go as far as to say rather find a different way and a different time to get your shot rather than increase the ISO, because guys, trust me, I've had some really bad experiences, and the dismay you get when you put your footage into the computer and see that amount of grain and noise on it can't be compared to anything else. And finally, tip number 4, understand that you need light. Something I only realized recently is that you can shoot at night, in the dark, but you will always need light. This is because cameras can't do everything no matter how expensive it is. Rewatch your favorite films and focus on scenes that take place at night. For a random example, I recently watched the film Get Out, and it was really good, by the way, and I definitely recommend it, but I also did like the cinematography quite a bit. Take a look at this shot from the opening scene of the film. It's clearly shot at night, but there's a ton of light present. Now the street lamps are responsible for the majority of this, but in real life it's not that bright. For example, in the middle of the night, sneak out of your house and go look down your street. You'll notice that the street lights aren't that bright. And that's because the filmmakers have used the street lights as a practical explanation for there being more light in the scene. They probably changed the globes, hidden fill lights near bushes and entrances into houses, done all sorts of things just to add more light into the scene because, as I said, light is vital. It's also present in later scenes in the film, although, for example, in this one, it's masked as moonlight. Now I'm using this film as an example because, as I said, I recently watched it, but this really does apply to any movie. For example, here's a shot from Prisoners, and here's one from The Dark Knight, and here's one from Skyfall, and here's another from T2. They all take place at night, and you can definitely see that, but there's still a ton of light. Light is essential in darkness. Hashtag light is essential in darkness. On fire today. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode and I hope you have learned a few things. If you want to, please subscribe down below as well as like the video and share it with all your filmmaker buddies and get their opinion on it. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, but until next time, I will see you in the next video.